Hello, gentle people. Today we're building something. I have always loved ballet, and eventually I would like to take classes. But with Corona, all that good stuff, that is not an option. So I was thinking that I would just do, videos and stuff off of YouTube at home in my house. The first problem that I encountered is that you need a barre to do, I guess, most beginner ballet exercises, and I do not have one of those. When I looked into buying one, the cheapest one online that was collapsible or whatever it may be, because I have limited storage space, the cheapest one was like $100. I am not paying $100 or $150 for what is essentially two metal pipes and a wooden rod slotted together. So I decided that I was going to make it myself. To that end, I took myself down to my local Lowe's and procured supplies. I got 3 of these. They are plumbing pipes, plumber's pipes, whatever. They're 1.5 inches. Ooh, bugs, ew. They're 1.5 inches, and I think that they are a bit wider than your regular barre, whatever that top piece is, but I can put my hand all the way around it, so I'm happy. I also got a couple of these, which will be how I slot all my little pieces together, and I also have a saw to cut things to length and a tape measure to measure things. Disclaimer: do not try this at home without maybe adult supervision or prior experience. I've been doing construction-like things since I was old enough to walk, and so I know the safe way to use a saw and all that good stuff, and I am pretty assured that I will not damage myself in any way, shape, or form. Do not attempt to follow anything that I'm doing here unless you are similarly assured. What you can do instead is if you go to a Home Depot or Lowe's and you pick up pipes like this, you can probably ask one of the associates to cut it up for you. I did not do that because I just wanted to get my stuff and leave, but that is an option that you can ask. You have to know your measurements so that they can measure things and cut it properly. But yeah, that is another option that is infinitely safer. Yeah. Alrighty, so this clip is just me measuring my legs and my actual barre piece that goes up to the top. Make sure that when you are measuring, you factor in the height of the joints as well. I did not do that and ended up having to go back and cut off another 10 inches or so, 8 inches off of what I already cut for my leg pieces, so that my barre came to less than my shoulder height. So keep that in mind when you're doing your measuring. So I measured these to about 50, but they probably ended up being about 40 when I was done. And I took off a little bit from my top barre piece as well because I did not need it to be as long as it was originally. Cool. So like I said in my intro, I advise that you skip this part. Have someone in Lowe's or wherever cut it for you, because a saw is sharp and you can lose a limb of some sort if you are not careful. As you can see, it took me a little bit to figure out that I need a bit more leverage than just my hand was providing me, so I ended up using my foot to hold the pole in place so that it was not rolling over the place and moving while I cut through this. I did this for all 3 of my pieces, and then I'm going to go back and cut the original piece that I cut off of my leg pieces in half. I'm going to cut the both of them in half, and those will go onto the bottom of my barre so they can act as stability of some sort. It's assembly time. So I'm going to put all my little pieces together, my legs into my sides, into my etc, etc, etc. The piece of video that I recorded of me gluing some of these sections together went missing. I don't know where it went, so I don't have it, but I'm just going to tell you, I did not glue all of the joints together. I glued the balance pieces to the joints, and I glued the joints to my top bar piece. I did not glue the legs to any of the joints because I wanted it to be easily dismantleable. I wanted it to be easy to dismantle. Yeah, there we go. I wanted it to be easy to dismantle. So not every joint has glue, only the stability feet at the bottom and the joints to the bar piece at the top. Reflexes. Oh, see my puppy in the background. So yeah, that's that on that. Those are my stability feet. Those I came back and glued in later. Those are the pieces that I glued together. I used Gorilla Glue to glue all my pieces together. None of them fall apart. If you know Gorilla Glue, you know that it lasts forever and ever. Amen. It did bubble up a bit, but I painted over it later, so it kind of doesn't matter to me. If it might bother you, then you know, there's your warning, but it didn't matter to me. It is painting time. So I'm going to assemble my new bar and the glued on parts and etc, etc onto this piece of cardboard so that I don't get paint everywhere. I used spray paint. I like bright colors, so I'm painting it yellow and teal, I believe it is. My yellow gets a lot of usage, so it definitely died on me twice. I used up both cans that we had at the house, so that is why the top bar is the only part that is yellow. But I use yellow and I use teal. They're very bright colors. I'm very happy with them. And I left my bar out overnight to dry, make sure it was fully and completely dry. Thank God it did not rain that night, because I think I would have simply cried. So I put my whole thingy together and it works. It's pretty stable. What I am going to do is put in weights at the bottom of it so that it doesn't move as much. And I also shortened the height a little bit more. My ballet friend told me that it should be below my shoulder height, and my original product was at least at my shoulder height. I didn't factor in the heights of the joints, so I have to do a little more cutting down with that, but that's fine. So the ballet bar that you see in my thumbnail and the one that you see me actually make is a height difference of at least like 8 inches. because I did a little bit of stuff afterwards. Alternate things to build this out of, you can also use a wooden rod and metal pipes. It's going to be a lot heavier, and I would only suggest doing that if you are trying to build a ballet barre, like for real ballet, and that if you don't intend to take it down, you know, store it anywhere too often. My version is fine for me. It's lightweight, it stays out of the way when I don't need it, and I'm not doing anything too much on it, so it works. This version will also work if, you know, you want something at home for your toddler who's doing ballet. It's lightweight, it's easy to make, and you can make it cool colors, sprinkle some glitter on it, I don't know. So yeah, I hope this little DIY was helpful in some way, shape, or form. It was just a cool project that I decided to do. Whenever I decide that I want something, the first thing that I look at is if I can make it, and it turned out this was pretty easy to make. I really, once again, highly suggest that you just go to, when you go to the Lowe's or the Home Depot, that you have them cut the pipes for you. Do not try it at home. It may or may not end well for you. If you saw earlier, even I had a little bit of struggle with it, and you know, figuring out how best to get leverage to cut it. It rolls, it's a circle, so that's even harder to cut. So I definitely suggest that you have a professional cut it for you. I hope you enjoyed my video. Like, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. And you know what? If you guys do follow this and make one, I want to see what you guys make. Share it with me on Instagram or Twitter, whatever it may be. My handle is at Comedian Renee on everything. So yeah, share if you guys make it, because I want to see what you guys come up with, if it works for you or not, etc, etc, etc. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys will see me next week. Bye!